In a world screaming for attention, your silence is your weapon. Where chaos rules, peace becomes power. People will test you, provoke you, pull you into their storms. Don't go. The moment you master your reactions, you become untouchable. Being busy is not the same as being productive. In fact, some of the busiest people accomplish the least. They rush through tasks, overwhelmed by to-do lists and appointments, yet feel empty at the end of the day, unsure of what they truly achieve. Constant movement without direction leads to exhaustion, not progress. Just because your calendar is full doesn't mean your purpose is being fulfilled. Business can be a trap, a disguise for procrastination, avoidance, or even insecurity. When we stay in motion, it gives the illusion that we're succeeding, but in reality, we may just be avoiding the deeper work that truly matters. The truth is, productivity requires clarity. It demands focus. Being productive means knowing what truly deserves your energy and what doesn't. It means identifying your priorities and aligning your actions accordingly. But many people confuse being overwhelmed with being important. They wear their business like a badge of honor, when in reality, it's often a sign of poor time management or lack of purpose. Productive people are not always the loudest or the most visible. They're often the ones moving in silence, making every minute count, not for the sake of appearing active, but for the sake of achieving meaningful outcomes. When you're always reacting instead of intentionally acting, you lose control of your day. You wake up, check your phone, answer emails, attend meetings, run errands, and before you know it, the day is over. But what did you actually build? What progress did you make toward your goals? It's easy to become trapped in cycles of business that lead nowhere. We convince ourselves that being on the go is the same as being effective. But in truth, if your actions aren't aligned with your purpose, you're just running in circles. Many people are addicted to the feeling of being needed. They fill their schedules to avoid stillness, because stillness forces them to reflect. It's easier to keep moving than it is to sit down and ask hard questions. Am I happy with where I'm going? Am I working on what matters? What is all this effort actually producing? Real productivity isn't glamorous. It's disciplined. It's saying no to distractions, cutting off unnecessary meetings, turning down opportunities that don't align with your vision. It's staying committed to the few things that truly matter, instead of scattering yourself across everything that demands your attention. True progress often comes from slowing down. It comes from creating space to think, to plan, to evaluate. The most successful people aren't always the busiest. They're the most strategic. They protect their time. They understand that rest is part of productivity. They know that recharging allows them to come back sharper, stronger, and more focused. Being busy may give you short bursts of adrenaline, but productivity gives you long-term growth and results. It's not about how much you do, it's about how effectively you do it. You have to make a choice. Do you want to appear productive or actually be productive? There's a difference. One is for show, the other is for purpose. One leads to burnout, the other leads to fulfillment. Don't fall into the trap of busyness. Don't confuse motion with progress. The goal is not to do more. The goal is to do what matters most, and to do it well. Evaluate your habits, audit your day, cut the noise. Focus on the essentials. Your time is too precious to be wasted on activity that doesn't move you forward. Business might impress others, but it won't fulfill you. Real productivity starts when you stop trying to do everything and start doing the right things with intention, clarity, and consistency. True productivity is not measured by how many tasks you check off your list, or how many hours you grind through each day. It's not about being constantly busy or overwhelmed with activity. It's about intentional action. Knowing exactly why you're doing what you're doing, and how it moves you closer to your purpose. The trap most people fall into is confusing motion with progress. They hustle endlessly, respond to every email, attend every meeting, and yet still feel stuck. Why? Because they haven't connected their actions to a deeper sense of meaning. Productivity without purpose is like running on a treadmill. You exert energy, but you're not really going anywhere. In this era of hustle culture, it's easy to idolize the idea of being busy. People glorify long hours and jam-packed schedules as signs of success. But what truly matters is effectiveness, not activity. You could spend an entire day working on low-priority tasks and still feel unfulfilled. True productivity requires clarity. When you know your destination, you can map your time and energy around the steps that genuinely matter. That's when you begin to see real, measurable results, not just in your to-do list, but in your life. Purpose-driven productivity begins with awareness. You have to understand what your core values are and what long-term goals you're striving toward. If your daily efforts don't align with those deeper intentions, you're just spinning your wheels. Every task, every commitment, every action should be filtered through the lens of, does this serve my mission? This level of self-inquiry keeps you focused. It guards you against distractions disguised as opportunities and helps you stay grounded in your path. You must also learn to say no. Being productive doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It often means saying no to most things. Time is a limited resource, and spreading yourself too thin is a fast track to burnout. When you're clear on your priorities, you gain the courage to protect your focus. You stop chasing validation and start respecting your boundaries. And in that clarity, your work becomes more impactful, more fulfilling, and more aligned with who you are becoming. Productivity without purpose can also strip your life of joy. You might accomplish a great deal and still feel empty. That's because success without meaning is hollow. You need both direction and intention. You need to know not just how to work, but why you're working. This kind of productivity feeds your spirit. It energizes you instead of exhausting you. It gives your days structure and your dreams traction. The truth is, you don't need to do more. You need to do what matters. Every moment spent on the right thing compounds. Small, meaningful steps taken consistently are more powerful than frantic sprints in the wrong direction. Purpose anchors you. It reminds you that your time, energy, and focus are sacred. And when you align your actions with that inner compass, you become unstoppable. Not because you're busy, but because you're deliberate. So, stop glorifying the grind. Start prioritizing what truly counts. Cut through the noise and focus on the signal. Because real productivity isn't about how much you can carry on your plate. It's about whether what's on your plate is worth carrying at all. Let purpose be your guide, and your productivity will not only rise, it will lead you somewhere that actually matters. When it comes to achieving meaningful results in life, the law of focused effort is non-negotiable. Most people are busy, distracted, and constantly pulled in multiple directions. But business does not equate to effectiveness. You can spend all day running in circles and still end up in the same place. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things with full presence and intention. Focused energy is a force multiplier. When you channel your effort into one direction consistently, you start to build momentum. And momentum is where transformation lives. The problem with scattered energy is that it gives you the illusion of movement while keeping you stuck. You start projects but don't finish them. You make plans but never follow through. You give your attention to everyone and everything, and at the end of the day, you feel drained with nothing meaningful to show for it. That's because your energy is finite. Your time is limited. And if you don't direct it with purpose, it gets absorbed by distractions, noise, and other people's agendas. Focused effort doesn't require perfection. It requires clarity. When you know what you want and, more importantly, why you want it, your focus sharpens. Suddenly, you don't have time for petty arguments, unnecessary scrolling, or empty tasks. Your energy becomes sacred. Every step you take, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goal. And those small, consistent actions compound over time. It's not the size of your action. It's the consistency and intention behind it that creates power. Think about the difference between a light bulb and a laser. Both use energy. But a light bulb scatters its energy in all directions, lighting up a room. A laser focuses that same energy into a tight, narrow beam, and it can cut through steel. That's the power of focused effort. When your mind, body, and spirit are aligned in one direction, you become unstoppable. You don't need more hours in a day. You need more focus in the hours you already have. This is where discipline becomes your ally. Focused effort isn't natural in a world built to distract you. It takes conscious choice. It requires saying no to 100 good things so you can say yes to one great thing. It demands you silence the noise around you, so you can hear the whisper of what truly matters. You train your mind to come back again and again to the task at hand. And even when progress feels slow, you trust the process. Regret is the price of scattered effort. You look back and realize how much time you wasted on things that didn't matter. But when you live by the law of focused effort, you start experiencing results that reflect your true potential. You don't just work. You build. You don't just move, you grow. And your life begins to take shape in a way that feels aligned, intentional, and deeply fulfilling. Success is not about talent or luck, it's about direction. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, results begin to grow. Make your effort count, cut the noise. Pick a target, and aim with everything you've got. You don't get paid for time spent. You get rewarded for what you produce. Stop chasing hours and start chasing results. We live in a world that celebrates being busy. People wear long hours like a badge of honor, as if working longer automatically means working better. But the truth is, time alone doesn't determine success. Results do. You can spend 10 hours on something and still achieve less than someone who worked with sharp focus for just 2. The world doesn't care how many hours you sat at your desk. It cares about what you actually accomplished while you were there. The sooner you realize that value lies in output, not effort alone, the quicker you'll shift from being merely active to being truly productive. Many people fall into the trap of time-based validation. They convince themselves that showing up early and leaving late means they're committed. They think that staying constantly on is a reflection of dedication, but staying longer without strategic focus only leads to burnout, not breakthroughs. Success doesn't come from business. It comes from clarity, from knowing exactly what you're working toward and measuring whether your actions are producing real outcomes, not just filling space on a to-do list. It's not about how tired you are at the end of the day, it's about whether you move the needle. In the marketplace, you're not compensated for your time. You're rewarded for the value you deliver. A coach doesn't get paid to talk. They get paid for transforming lives. A designer isn't hired for how long they work, but for the impact their design creates. A business doesn't survive by simply staying open longer. It thrives by solving real problems effectively. So why do so many people obsess over hours rather than results? It's because tracking hours is easy. It gives a false sense of progress. But real progress comes from confronting whether what you're doing is actually working. Measuring results requires honesty. You have to ask yourself, did this action create the outcome I wanted? Did this strategy bring me closer to my goal? It takes self-awareness and humility to admit when something you invested time in didn't work, but that's where growth happens. When you shift your mindset from, how long did I work, to, what did I actually achieve? You begin operating on a higher level. You stop confusing movement for momentum. You start trimming the fat from your day and focusing only on what moves you forward. Results-based living creates freedom. When you stop glorifying hours and start celebrating outcomes, you gain time, energy, and clarity. You no longer feel guilty for finishing early, because you know your value is rooted in results, not the clock. You learn to prioritize with ruthless precision. You develop the discipline to say no to distractions that don't serve the mission. You begin to operate like a high performer, someone who's not working more but smarter, faster, and with purpose. And in doing so, you start achieving more in less time. The difference between average and elite isn't who works longer, it's who works better. The elite know their worth isn't measured in minutes but in milestones. They reverse engineer success by defining what outcomes matter and then committing their energy only to what drives those outcomes. If you want to stand out, don't just show up, deliver. If you want to be rewarded, don't just hustle, create impact. Chase results, not hours. That's the path to real power, real fulfillment, and real freedom. There is a dangerous illusion that fools even the most ambitious minds: the confusion between motion and progress. At first glance, both appear the same. You're doing something, staying busy, filling your days with meetings, research, brainstorming, planning, and talking. It feels like momentum. It gives you a sense of accomplishment, a mental high that whispers, you're doing great. But there's a trap in that feeling, because motion doesn't always equal progress. Motion is comfortable. It keeps you in the safe zone. It tricks you into believing you're moving forward, when you're really just circling the same place, avoiding the discomfort of execution. It's a form of productive procrastination. Doing things that feel important without ever doing the one thing that truly moves the needle. You can spend days refining a plan, adjusting your schedule, or organizing your workspace. But if you don't take concrete steps toward your goal, nothing really changes. Progress, on the other hand, is different. Progress is uncomfortable. It requires action. It often demands that you step into the unknown, take risks, and face failure. Progress means sending that pitch, launching that idea, applying for the job, starting that workout, publishing that book. It's the movement that actually shifts your position in life from point A to point B. It doesn't just feel good, it delivers results. It builds confidence not from the illusion of business but from the evidence of change. The problem is, we often stay in motion because it's easier than progress. Progress holds us accountable. Motion lets us stay in the safety of preparation. It lets us hide behind the idea that we're not ready yet, that we need more time, more information, or more perfect circumstances. But the truth is, perfection is an excuse. The people who change their lives aren't the ones who endlessly prepare. They're the ones who execute, learn, adjust, and keep going. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself you're working on something, when in reality, you've just been circling around it? You've read books about it, listened to podcasts, watched tutorials, maybe even talked to others who've done it. But have you actually done it? Have you taken that uncomfortable leap forward? If not, you're stuck in motion. Life rewards execution, not preparation. It rewards the ones who act despite fear, who do the work even when it's messy and imperfect. Success isn't born out of thinking. It's born out of doing. It's not the hours you put in that matter. It's what you produce during those hours. You can work 10 hours a day and still get nowhere if you're stuck in motion. But even 1 hour of focused execution can change everything. The key is to be brutally honest with yourself. Ask, am I preparing because I truly need to, or am I preparing because I'm afraid to start? There's nothing wrong with gathering knowledge or building a plan. But there is something wrong with staying there forever. Preparation should be a pit stop, not a destination. Don't let the fear of failure, imperfection, or judgment keep you trapped in endless motion. Every day, make it your mission to execute something that matters. Don't just move forward. Build a track record of actions, not just ideas. Let your results speak louder than your intentions. The difference between motion and progress is the difference between dreams that die in notebooks and goals that come to life. One gives you the illusion of growth. The other transforms your world. Choose wisely. Not everything in life deserves your energy, your time, or your attention. In a world of constant notifications, never-ending to-do lists, and pressure to always be available, it's easy to fall into the trap of doing everything and accomplishing nothing. The truth is, if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will do it for you. You need to become ruthless about what matters. You need to protect your focus like it's your greatest asset, because it is. Prioritizing what matters starts with clarity. What do you actually want? What goals truly matter to you? If you don't know your priorities, distractions will disguise themselves as opportunities. The more unclear you are, the more vulnerable you become to time wasters. But once you know your direction, it becomes easier to say no. You stop trying to do everything and start putting your energy into the few things that actually move your life forward. Distractions often come dressed as obligations. That text you feel obligated to reply to immediately, that meeting that could have been an email, that one more scroll through social media that turns into 30 minutes. These are silent killers of your dreams. Each yes to something unimportant is a no to what actually matters. You only have so many hours in a day. Spend them wisely. Not everything is urgent. Not everything is important. Learn to tell the difference. Protecting your priorities is not just about productivity, it's about peace. When your day is filled with intentional action, your mind is calmer. There's less anxiety, less overwhelm, and more fulfillment. You go to bed knowing you worked on what truly counts. You stop feeling like a hamster on a wheel, constantly busy but going nowhere. Instead, you feel like a builder, laying brick by brick toward a future you're proud of. Many people feel guilty for saying no. They think they're being rude, selfish, or lazy. But saying no isn't disrespect, it's self-respect. It's acknowledging that your time is valuable, your goals are meaningful, and your dreams deserve your full attention. You can't give your best to everything. Something will always suffer. Choose carefully what you allow into your life. It's not just about removing distractions. It's also about optimizing what you do give your energy to. Are you giving your best to your health, your relationships, your mission? Or are you operating on autopilot, doing things just to stay busy? Real success is born out of alignment. When your actions reflect your priorities, that means giving focused time to what moves the needle, even if it's less glamorous or takes more effort. Start with the top 3 things that matter most to you. Maybe it's your personal growth, your business, and your family. Or maybe it's your health, your craft, and your legacy. Whatever it is, carve out time daily for them. Treat these priorities like sacred appointments. Defend them from distractions with the same intensity you defend your loved ones. Productivity without purpose is just noise. You can be efficient and still be lost. You can be busy all day and still be empty inside. But when you align your effort with what matters most, your life becomes meaningful. You create not just success but significance. So learn to say no. Protect your focus. Prioritize what matters. Because your future is built on how well you guard your time today. At the heart of true productivity lies clarity, discipline, and intention. It's not about staying busy or checking off endless tasks. It's about aligning your actions with purpose, vision, and impact. Motion without direction is just noise. Focused effort, on the other hand, drives meaningful results. When you start measuring your progress by outcomes instead of hours, you reclaim your time, your energy, and your purpose. Say no to what doesn't serve you. Say yes only to what moves you forward. You don't need to do everything. You need to do what matters most. The world is filled with distractions designed to steal your attention, but your success depends on your ability to focus. Refuse to just move, choose to advance. Refuse to be merely active, choose to be effective. That's the difference between a busy life and a fulfilled one. Protect your priorities, work with intention, and always remember, progress, not motion, changes your life.